Hello again. It's your host, Amateur Overlord. Before I begin today, a friend of mine made a comment. Now, you see this bed sheet? I have three of the same bed sheet, all right? So it ain't the same damn bed sheet you're seeing every time. I know you think that, but I'm not nasty like that. But I do have three of the same pattern. And I do that because I'm a bit boring about certain things. Like, I don't want the because then you have to because then like sometimes if you have different bed sheets, then you gotta buy different pillowcases to match. But if I get all of the same, it makes my life easier. It's the same reason why I guess some high-profile individuals just wear a T-shirt and jeans every day. It just gives me less to have to think about. If I have a lot of uniformity, I know what it's gonna look like. I know I'll have the pillowcases that will match the bedspread every single time, and it just makes my life simple. So yeah. So that being said, let's get into it. We have reached a milestone. We are at our 10th episode today, and I'm gonna potentially call this the end of season 1. It's been great. Here's some of the topics we've covered. We had a really crusty, rusty intro on the first part. I talked about in episode 2 hating my job. That got sparked a lot of controversy. A lot of people are afraid to speak on such a subject, but not me. If it's time to talk on it, I'll talk on it. Yeah. And as we know, hating my job was more so about me feeling unfulfilled by the work that I do than actually hating the job that I do. So I'm glad we covered that. Episode 3, hashtag Me Too Morgan Freeman. Now, yeah, Morgan Freeman was accused of some things, and as a result of those accusations, he was able to address some of his perhaps more unsavory behavior during interviews, which I thought was a lot of the time was him flirting. I didn't really see anything personally that I thought was out of line that he did, or in how he acted with women that I would say was really out of line. I think that George Bush Sr., I think he's probably done more in the way of inappropriate behavior with women. It's one thing to be a famous actor, and another thing to have been formerly the head of the most powerful nation on earth. I'm sure the entitlement there is going to be a lot higher, and that entitlement will mean that you can, I think that he's reported to or have alleged to have done, like slapping aides' butts and things like that. Just creepy old man stuff. Episode 4 talked about anger, talked about my anger, talked about anger in general. With each day, with each opportunity to work on ourselves, like I obviously include myself in this, we work on our anger, we work on how we see the world, we work on how we see ourselves through anger. There was something really important I didn't really address in that particular episode, and when I read in this book again, I like to reference this book a lot, The Art of Happiness, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and Howard C. Cutler, international bestseller. It says something really important. It says that I'm going to paraphrase here, that you learn more from your enemies about yourself. So enemies are really important because if you think about it, our friends, they don't test us. A friend, they'll love us, they'll cover over our shortcomings, they will tell us nice things about ourselves, but it's not until we have to deal with somebody who dislikes us, usually with no good reason. Usually the people that dislike us don't know anything about us or nothing concrete enough for them to have such a strong opinion, but it's in that situation that we find out who we are, because then our character gets tested. Then we find out what's inside of us. That's when we find out if there's some darkness in there, when someone has crossed the line with us and we feel the need to retaliate or we become angry or upset. So he said it's very important to have enemies because they'll teach you more about yourself than your friends ever could. And it gave me a really unique perspective on how to see my dispatches. Then I apologize, but it's early in the morning, tongues be flying, and you talking fast and you spitting everywhere. Yeah, you learn more from your enemies about yourself, because obviously there's that being tested. We went to the abortion referendum over there in Ireland, and that also got a lot of views. People were really interested in that. The world is changing. the world is changing, and for the better, and for in some ways not so good. Some things I think that are changing don't necessarily need to be changed, but when all is said and done, you really want to be on the right side of history. And I think the problem with human beings when it comes to societal change, they usually lack balance. Like, they'll try and fix one problem, and in an attempt to fix that problem, they'll go to the other extreme of it, where everything that was really, really wrong one day becomes really, really right the other day, when in actuality you just needed to get somewhere in the middle and find a nice balanced medium, and it just never seems to happen. Human nature just seems to swing from either poles, either extremes. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. But the abortion referendum, it went down. Ireland now has the rights that so many other countries have had for many years, that are putting the choice of a woman's health back in her hands, which is where it probably should be. Heightism. Hating on people because they're short. What kind of nonsense is that? Getting hated on because you're short. Like I said, happened to me. Not a very tall man. Don't need to be. I remember I was explaining this to my dad. My dad's like 5'8", 5'9", and considered like the average height for a man in the United States. I was saying to him that being a short man is humbling, but it's not humiliating unless you let it become that. Like, sometimes I'll be in a store and I'll need something on the top shelf, and there'll be a lady next to me who's taller, and I'll be like, could you get that for me? Now that, like I say, it is humbling. It's a humbling thing, but I mean, everyone could do a little more humility. But I'm not humiliated. I mean, I still want the shirt, so I had to say something, or I have to climb up that thing, potentially drag everything down on me and pin myself underneath. What, just so I can save some face? I'm not that guy. I'd rather ask the nice tall lady to hand me my shirt, and maybe if she's nice, I might ask her for coffee. Yeah, moving on. Loneliness. I was talking to my dear friend about this yesterday night, and he's a deep guy. I don't know if he gives himself credit, but he's a very deeply introspective man, and he's a great friend in that I know that he wants me to be successful. I have a great many friends that I feel this way about, that they're rooting for me. When you have people in your corner, because you have friends, but when you have friends that want you to be successful, you will be successful. Because on them days that you don't feel like you're gonna get up and you're gonna do this, or you don't think it's working, or you think that life is stressful, and these people come and they're just like, oh no, I think you're this, I think you're that, and it's empowering. It's so empowering, and I am so thankful for them. I make sure I put my boys in my gratitude journal all the time. They are a driving force behind what I'm able to do, and I appreciate them being in my life. Loneliness. Like I was saying, when I came here expecting to do one thing. Found out the job I wanted wasn't there. Went through a lot of drama. There was some family drama that had occurred prior to my arrival, and when I arrived, I ended up having to deal with it in a way like I was getting blamed for it, and that wasn't really fair. And it has left me feeling a way about a certain family member to this day that I don't really make an effort to have a relationship with. And it is what it is, But I made sure that no one could ever do that to me again, tell you that much. Roseanne, talking all her racist stuff. Woo! Roseanne. She blamed it on the ambient. Ambient people came back and said ambient does not make you racist. And the drug company had to say that. Look, our drugs do not make you racist. It's like you was racist before you got here. Basically, I feel you, ambient. I know what you're saying, all right? Yeah. We'll leave that one there. I mean, it speaks for itself. Last but not least, for season 1, we had drill music. I dropped that one yesterday. I talked about drill music and how the British government is going after guys on YouTube and artists that make this type of music in an attempt to quell the violence, when the violence is a symptom of social conditions, and music is an artistic expression, and censoring it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So yeah, that's the first season wrapped up. We have hit the 10-minute mark. I'd like to thank you again for tuning in. I got mad love for all of you. We are getting some guests. I have them scheduled now, and they will be here shortly. Again, yeah, I have been your host, Amateur Overlord. I love you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.